get on the same page. These two have that. They're developing that.
Yeah.
And I think so you're looking at two really good tight ends. Yes. You talk about Travis Kelce, but Dawson Knox has become a go-to guy right now for
Josh Allen.
Yeah,
he is.
All right, and just a reminder that the Rams are taking on the Buccaneers. That game over on NBC, and right now the Rams are leading at 27-13, 6:31 left in that game. Back to our guy, Phil.
Well, you know, Boomer's talking about all the ways they have to try to score down in the red zone inside the 10. Now, you know, Andy Reid lets the players submit plays to him. He looks them over, make your case, and if it's good enough, he runs the play. Why? Get the players excited. Oh, it's my idea. Look what we're doing. And it works a lot of times. Travis Kelce, talking about him. He was open in week 5 down the field. Mahomes missed him. He's a terrific target. He's played quarterback. He's run the option. He threw a pass for a touchdown, last week? So Travis Kelce can do it all, and that's just part of what they do to keep their players excited by doing those plays.
The one thing that I've noticed over the last couple of years by the Buffalo Bills, they've drafted defensive linemen high. And the reason that they've done that, and the type of defensive lineman that they've added, extremely athletic, quick. And that's what you have to be if you want to go against Kansas City Chiefs. Because, number one, the quarterback's going to move all over the place. And number two, what are the Kansas City Chiefs downfield? They're fast. So you have to have top quality safeties, which they have. And they also have very active defensive linemen. And the reason you do that is so you can actually try to nullify some of the speed of Patrick Mahomes.
And they have to be disciplined. Both defenses, really. When those ends rush upfield, you can't get too wide and you can't get too deep downfield because these quarterbacks will step up in the pocket, keep their helmet up, and they'll deliver the ball down the field. But more importantly, they'll start going left to right, sideline to sideline, and that's where you get in trouble because as a wide receiver, I know I'm going into scramble rules, which means one guy comes down to the quarterback, another guy goes to the sideline, and then there's one guy going deep. And that's where Patrick Mahomes really will destroy you.
He will, and a quick passing game has been a big part of their offense, and they got speed. And I think the biggest factor tonight could be tackling, is that secondary of the Buffalo Bills, because they're going to be out in space. He'll get out of his hands quickly because of the pass rushers they have. But the tackling in the open space, and you talk about Travis Hill, you talk about Hardman, you're talking about Jerick McKinnon. These are guys out of the backfield that they get the ball in their hand, they can make a big play.
You know, when you got a fast defense, you usually use a good tackling. And that's, you know, because we can close the gaps, do the whatever. Boomer, to go back to your point, in the last 4 years, Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have drafted 5 defensive linemen. And you're right. Why?
And we will get all into that right now. We'll step aside for a quick timeout, and the NFL Today will be back in a moment.
Human pyrotechnics dressed in red, white, and gold. The Chiefs are back-to-back AFC champions.
I'm legendary. Extraordinary.
In order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we got to be ready for it.
Go ahead and tell me who's going to stop me now.
It's obviously pretty cool to be in that conversation with a player who's won MVP and won a Super Bowl already, and he's done all the major things that you want to accomplish in your career.
Tell me who's going to stop me now.
He's a tremendous player. They put a lot on his shoulders, and he rises to the occasion. He's able to run the ball.
Oh, the juke move.
Throw the ball.
Allen. Oh, laser beam.
He has the arm strength to throw it anywhere on the football field, and he makes great decisions.
Josh Allen throws an absolute strike. Mahomes is fired up. What a play! Amazing! Mahomes right on the screws. This is all Josh Allen. All Josh Allen.
The Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs collide.
Well, folks, it is the perfect evening for football in Kansas City, Missouri. 34 degrees, clear skies. And you know what? A sense of deja vu in Arrowhead Stadium. 364 days after losing in the AFC title game, the 4-seed Buffalo Bills relishing the opportunity to take down the mighty 2-seed Kansas City Chiefs.
There's Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. Week 5 against Kansas City. He accounted for 374 yards. Today, facing a better Kansas City defense.
Patrick Mahomes, you think he's hitting his stride? The last 6 games are 5-1. And Patrick, 17 touchdowns and 1 interception. The master of extending plays.
And there's Stephon Diggs, one of the best route runners in the NFL. Since joining the Bills, 7 catches per game. Josh Allen will be looking for him early and often.
Here's one of the best football players in all the NFL. That's Travis Kelce. He had 92 receptions this year, 1,125 yards, and 9 touchdowns for that explosive Kansas City offense. And
hello, folks, and welcome to the NFL Today, presented by Ram Trucks. I'm James Brown, and, folks, this is the second of back-to-back days here in Studio 43, delivering compelling playoff action alongside my esteemed colleagues, two-time champ and Super Bowl MVP. That will be Phil Simms. Need more be said other than the Hall of Fame coach, Bill Cowher, the Emmy Award-winning Nate Burleson, and former league MVP and the captain of the Bengals bandwagon, that would be Boomer Esiason.
Boomer's mad because they showed me first.
You read my mind.
You were surprised over
I
there.
was surprised, yes.
I was.
Hey, folks, I think I speak for everyone when I say you couldn't have asked for a more exciting start to divisional round weekend. Last night in Green Bay, San Francisco's special teams, Bill, came up big, helping the Niners to upset the Packers 13-10. They now advance to the NFC Championship game, where they will meet the winner of today's Rams-Buccaneers matchup. And speaking of upsets, Bengals rookie Evan McPherson knocked in 4 field goals, including the game winner, as the Natty punched his ticket to the AFC Championship game 19-16 over the #1 seed Tennessee Titans. And, folks, we will find out who joins them in that game after tonight's marquee matchup right here on CBS, when Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs host Josh Allen and the red-hot Bills, winner of 5 in a row. You know what? It could be an explosive rematch between possibly the two most gifted signal callers in the league, leading to dynamic offenses. And, Nate, it seems like this one is personal.
And, JB, you mentioned that loss a year ago, and I want to show you something. I'm not sure people remember this, but after the Bills lost, check out Stephon Diggs. Instead of going into the locker room, he decided to stay out there. Here's the thing. He wanted that to sit in his spirit, soak in so he can feel it. Two types of players in the NFL. You guys know this. There's one guy who takes the L. He doesn't care. Check's still clear. He got the big house, the fancy car. He's ready to book his vacation. And then there's other guys, when they lose, it means everything to them. Yeah. And Stephon Diggs is one of those guys. So he wanted to see those guys celebrate. He wanted to know what it feels like to be on the losing end. In this game, he's trying to change that. And I know his quarterback is going to be looking for him all day long.
Yes, he is. But motivation, seeing what the other team, where we have to go to be champions. And Josh Allen, look, we're talking about the modern day quarterbacks. He has great size, he has mobility, and he has a powerful right arm. And both of these quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, they led their teams in rushing in week 5. So that tells you something about what they can do. But they got to find a way to keep both of these quarterbacks in the pocket. I just say to them, good luck.
You know, you're talking about that week 5 where Buffalo did come into Kansas City and they got that win. It was regular season. But also in that game, the Kansas City defense did not have this guy right here, Melvin Ingram, did not have Chris Jones, did not have Charvarius White. And you know what? That forced Steve Spagnuolo to have to sit there and blitz and not be the 4-man rush. And you go against Josh Allen, you give him time, you give him rush lanes, and he will take advantage of extending plays. So you look at this Buffalo offense, they're going against a defense in Kansas City that's got a lot more players than they did before.
And you know what, guys? The Buffalo Bills have been ascending now for 4 years under Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. The problem that they have today is they're going against Patrick Mahomes, who's 6-1 in the playoffs. That one loss came to the Patriots when he didn't get the ball back in overtime, and Tom Brady did. And look at those numbers: 20 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's virtually unbeatable at Arrowhead Stadium in the playoffs. So you can say whatever you want. I like Josh Allen. I love where the Bills are going.
Yeah.
But this guy right here, Patrick Mahomes, he knows how to defend his home turf.
No doubt about it. And he knows how to start off a game. What I mean by that, he's going to go to his bread and butter. That's Travis Kelce. I call him a hybrid wide receiver / tight end. He can run routes just like a wide receiver. He can high point the ball. He's very physical. He's a better blocker than people give him credit for. And then they also scheme plays to make it easy for him.
You know, this guy right here, you talk about being explosive and talking about being able to be able to tackle well. That's Tyreek Hill. They do a lot with him. They move him all around, try to get the ball in his hands. He is a playmaker. You couple him with Jerick McKinnon, two of the fastest guys on the field. It's going to test the tackling of the Buffalo Bills. They are disciplined. They don't give up a lot of big plays, but Tyreek Hill can really challenge you.
Who's the #1 team in the AFC? That is the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Buffalo Bills have done a good job over the last couple years building their football team to beat teams like Kansas City. Over the last 4 years, they've drafted 5 defensive linemen. They played 9 defensive linemen in week 5 against Patrick Mahomes because they want dudes chasing him because they know he's going to get outside the pocket, and you need that speed, that depth, and everything. They have it. to chase him around and maybe make it happen
A
today.
lot of gifted talent on both of these squads. Most people feel like we'll be seeing a lot of these two squads for the foreseeable future. And speaking of futures, you know what? There may be some guys who are questioning their own future. With that in mind, let's check in with Jason Lockenfor.
Indeed, JB. Aaron Rodgers will meet with Packers officials next month to discuss his future, but a return to Green Bay is far from certain. The Packers face a serious cap crunch and won't be able to keep all their free agents. Retaining Devontae Adams, however, is a must if they want Rodgers back. The reigning MVP already made it clear he's not interested in a rebuild if Rodgers is dealt. The Broncos may be the team to beat. Tom Brady's future also very much in doubt. Those who know Brady well tell me they would not be surprised if he retires this offseason. And some of Brady's teammates have intimated that they believe this is the end for the quarterback, no matter how the season concludes. The Bucs won't be able to keep their entire team together for 2022. Brady turns 45 in August. And Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy is the only one of Andy Reid's assistants to get a head coaching interview. So far this year, Bieniemy met with the Broncos, but at this point, it's more likely that he's back with Patrick Mahomes next year, Boom.
You know, 45 is the new 25, Jason. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Teacher and pupil, that's Andy Reid. And that's Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott worked for Andy Reid in Philadelphia as they were with the Eagles together.
Straight ahead on the NFL Today, two of the NFL's best young stars shine bright on Wild Card Weekend. And tonight, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen go head-to-head to find out who will move on to host the AFC Championship game next Sunday. With the help of rookie kicker Evan McPherson, the Bengals went into Nashville and upset the Titans. While at Lambeau, the 49ers brushed off the cold and shocked Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Find out who the guys think will wear the Cinderella slipper all the way to Super Bowl 56. That's all coming up when the NFL Today returns on CBS. The NFL Today on CBS is presented by Ram Trucks, GD Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality, built to serve.
Hey, folks, is there a quarterback with more responsibility than Josh Allen? You know, this team relies on him to make so many plays with his arms and his legs. In fact, during most games, if you look closely, you can see the entire city of Buffalo riding on his back. And let's take a look at some surprisingly great plays presented by State Farm.
Whoa, Super Wild Card Weekend. Temperature currently 7 degrees.
Fires one into the end zone, caught. How did he make that happen?
The Bills strike first.
I won't give up. Rise to the plate.
Zip to the end zone, touchdown. There he goes. Oh, the juke move.
I won't give up.
Allen back to throw. Sanders, he's got it.
34-yard strike.
Touchdown, Buffalo, again.
Highlight after highlight.
We'll never give up.
And you know, Phil, what a game Josh Allen had last week against New England. Take a look at these numbers. For my money, maybe one of the greatest playoff games in NFL history. And certainly he is weatherproof, as he proved once again. Now, tell us why, and you saw this 4 years ago from this young man, why he is now jumped up into being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, he's got experience. Let's see, he's really big. He's really fast when he runs the football, and he's got a great arm. I don't know how he's doing it. But, you know, here's one play I love. He does a little pump fake to the left. Why does he do that? He knows the corner is looking at him and the receiver at the same time. J.C. Jackson relaxes a little bit. He gets the ball thrown over his head. Watch this, just to show you the arm strength, athletic ability. Moving left, throwing right to Gabriel Davis across the field. One of the most powerful arms in the NFL without question. And then if you pressure him in the pocket, him and Patrick Mahomes, they're not afraid to run, be physical. And in the open field, Matt Judon, you have no chance of getting him. So he has everything you want in a quarterback. And I think the Buffalo Bills do a great job of using him that way.
You know, for 4 years, he's been one of our favorite topics here in the NFL Today. And the interesting thing is his coach has got to figure out how to stop him. So let's go over to JB, Coach, and Nate.
And we do have a guy who can figure it out. Hey, fellas, thank you so much. And there are times when Josh Allen looks like he simply cannot be contained. So what can Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo do to slow down the young superstar.
These are two of the most dynamic quarterbacks this league has ever seen. Check this out. Most pass TDs on the run. Josh Allen at the top of the list, right above Patrick Mahomes. But it's about Josh Allen with 14, Coach. And here's the thing. He can do it all inside the pocket, but it's outside of the pocket where he really kills you. But how do you stop him?
Well, there's two things, too. It's when he's passing the ball, you have to contain him and keep him in the pocket. But they do a great job of designing plays to get him out there as a running back.
Yeah.
When you look at Steve Spagnuolo, you have to mix up the blitz. You have to be able to play a four-man rush. They have Chris Jones back. They don't have him the last game. They have Melvin Ingram, who they picked up in the trade deadline. They can put pressure on the quarterback. Charvarius Ward, their best corner, did not play last time.
Yep.
But you can't blitz this guy often, Nate, because he will beat you. But you have to be very disciplined and have integrity in the rush lanes going against him when you're not blitzing. So you have to mix it up, because you're right. Josh Allen was the leading rusher. He's the thrower. He makes plays outside the pocket.
Yeah, and the Honey Badger is one of those guys that's going to be focused on Josh Allen. You know, they treat him almost like a spy safety sometimes. Yeah. They'll put him down in that box. But on the flip side, Coach, I'm looking at that Bills defense trying to figure out how they're going to stop Patrick Mahomes, right?
The Bills defense is pretty good. They've done it all season long. When you look at them, they're number one in terms of touchdowns allowed, completion percentage, and yards per attempt, because you know what they do? They do a great job with Leslie Frazier. They have great experience.
Yep.
They're coordinated together.
And you mentioned discipline, and it's perfect for guys like Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. I mean, these guys are going to, you know, oftentimes when a quarterback leaves the pocket, it's easy to get fixated on the QB. Right. But you can't do that. You have to keep your eyes on the wide receiver, because what we do, we go into scramble rules. Yeah. So it's going to be one guy going to the sideline, one guy coming back to the quarterback, and then another guy going right over your head, and that's where Mahomes loves to take those shots downfield. You have to have discipline, Coach.
Well, it's called eye discipline.
Oh, eye discipline.
Eye discipline.
Oh, it's kind of like hanging out with the wife and a pretty girl walks by.
Eye discipline. Just looking straight ahead.
I'm not looking. I'm looking straight.
You know what? They just ad-libbed so wonderfully. What about Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, there's Mahomes. Emphasis on home. When he plays in KC in the playoffs, 20 TDs and just one interception.
I got my eyes on him.
Eye discipline.
The NFL Today is sponsored by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. Verizon, the official 5G network of the NFL. And by Ram Trucks, J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality.
Well, folks, when you talk about guys with game-breaker ability, these two must be near the top of the list. You heard Nate talk about Stephon Diggs already, Tyreek Hill, the other two of the best in the game, and with a propensity to always get open, folks. They are both a quarterback's dream and a DB's nightmare. Time now for Pregame HQ, delivered by Domino's.
McPherson trying to kick the Bengals into the AFC Championship.
Oh, that guy's unbelievable. He gave a little warm-up swing, and he said, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship.
McPherson, he's got it!
Yeah, it's a kicker's dream is to, you know, have the game on your shoulders and just to go out there and execute.
They are going to the AFC Championship game.
We to the AFC Championship! Let's go!
Next round, trying to win a championship. We're not done.
We said in our special teams had an advantage in this game.
It's a San Francisco touchdown!
We thought they had an opportunity to possibly win us the game.
Kick is good! San Francisco has stunned Green Bay!
All I gotta say is, we're not done yet.
Yeah, I mean, a little numb for sure. Didn't think it was going to end like this.
Well, yesterday the road teams got out of the mud. Yes, I'm trying, Sammy. With a couple of hard-fought victories, Cincinnati returns to the AFC Championship game for the first time since, who was there then, 1988?
That would be me,
That would be Boomer Esiason. But perhaps the bigger upset was the Niners silencing the hopes of Aaron Rodgers and the Packers yet again.
Well, you know, listen, they did a great job in the last drive of the game, the San Francisco 49ers offense. Their big guys came through, and when you watch it, the big moment, they made the plays. Here it is, the last drive. George Kittle, 5 wide receivers, one-on-one against Campbell, the linebacker. Easy completion. Good job by Jimmy G. Garoppolo looks right, nobody open, comes back to the backside and finds Deebo Samuel for a big first down. And then this, 3rd and 7. Deebo Samuel making a great run to get him in field goal position. Then Robbie Gould These kickers, they're hot this weekend.
Wow.
He puts it right through the middle, and it's an upset by the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, well, not all the kickers are hot, Phil. When you talk about that game last night with San Francisco, they got the verdict right here of their special teams.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers, it was the blunder, and in the first half, a block right there by Jimmy Ward of the field goal. Then with 4 minutes to go in the game, you're going to see Jordan Willis block it. You're going to see Tagovailoa recover this thing, take it in for a touchdown. The only touchdown of the game, tied it up, and then certainly we saw the game-winning field goal before. So 2 block kicks really cost the Green Bay Packers a chance to move on.
Right.
What made this Packers offense good is that they can nickel and dime you all game long.
Yeah.
And then they're very selective when they take the shots downfield, which Aaron Rodgers does. It's almost like they lull you to sleep, and then boom, they'll hit you downfield. That 49ers defense, they suffocated that. They took away the intermediate routes, which basically had Aaron Rodgers back there patting the ball, holding on to it, and even second-guessing himself when he was out there trying to make some plays. So credit to that defense. I mean, they really took away one of the biggest strengths that Packers offense has.
Yeah, I also credit Jimmy Garoppolo for playing with a bad thumb. Everybody forgets that, and it's 0 degrees last night, the snow, the wind, and everything else, and making some key throws there at the end. And I know now the drama of Aaron Rodgers begins. Is he going to be in Green Bay next year? Is he going to play next year? Where is he going to be? I mean, all of that stuff is yet to be determined, and we'll just start getting into all of that. But, you know, this is a massive failure by the Green Bay Packers. I don't know how else you could put it. Aaron's played maybe his best football the last 3 years and really has nothing to show for it when it comes to playoffs. And think about this. If Tom Brady beats the Rams today, that means Tom Brady would have more playoff victories in the NFC playoffs than Aaron Rodgers. That is crazy when you think about that.
Wow. Didn't it seem like the writing was on the wall as soon as he walked off that field? It just seemed like it was a wrap. The era of, you know, Aaron Rodgers playing for the Green Bay Packers is over. And it's unfortunate. I played against Aaron Rodgers, and I love seeing him in that green and yellow. He kicked my butt plenty of times when I was playing for the Detroit Lions. But it just seems like this was the last step, I guess.
You know, for Aaron Rodgers, it's talking about winning championships, and where else is going to be any better than being in the NFC North right
Nowhere.
now with their team? But can they keep this team together right now? Devontae Adams, you know, they're going to have to sign him. They have a number of free agents that are up. My sense right now with Aaron Rodgers, I think we've seen the last snap of him in a Green Bay Packer uniform.
For sure.
And I think he's going to contemplate his retirement because, like you said, Boom, they've never had a better scenario than what they've had right now. Home field, playing at home, and yet they can't get over that hump to get to another Super Bowl. And so and I don't think he's not instituting a rebuild either. It's not a rebuild. So there's going to have to be something that's concessions made to go to a team that's going to contend.
My question's always with the Green Bay Packers last year, even this year, can their defense stand up and make it happen against a physical team? And you know what? Their defense was spectacular last night. And it was the offense. Aaron Rodgers said after the game, we only got 10 points. How do we do that? Boomer, you said it right. We laughed about the San Francisco 49ers pass rush against Dallas. They were all over Green Bay. They were condensing that pocket. And Nate, he couldn't get those easy throws to the outside, which he usually has. And I thought he got a little rattled. In other words, when you start getting hit a lot, what do you expect the next play? To get hit again.
Yep. Yeah. You use the word spectacular as well. That certainly defines the game between the Rams and the Buccaneers, and it's a final.
All right, the Buccaneers got up 27-3. The Bucs came all the way back, thanks in large part to 4 fumbles, and then Cooper Kupp out of nowhere right down the middle of the field, and now Matthew Stafford's got to run down, spikes the ball. Here comes Matt Gay. He kicks the game-winning field goal. The Rams will host the San Francisco 49ers. Round 3 between those teams next week out in SoFi Stadium and in Los Angeles.
How about that?
But, man, what a comeback by the Buccaneers.
And isn't this what you like to see? Divisional round weekend, all 3 games so far decided by game-winning field goal.
You know, we're having the same conversation about Tom Brady. Did we see the last play of Tom Brady in a Tampa Bay Buccaneer uniform?
That's a good question, Coach.
I mean, because you talk about, again, to go back through this and this kind of game at home, to lose this type of game like he just did, that question has been talked about. A lot of people are questioning that. I'm not so sure that we're not going to see, we've seen the last of Tom Brady as well.
I agree with you, Coach. I think this will be it, too. But go back to that game, Matt Stafford. Can he come through to the clutch? Can he make the big throw? Well, for one more week, he can live, and everybody will get off his case.
42 seconds left, they gave him the ball.
Right down the field, 2 big throws. Got hit as he's throwing it to Cooper Kupp. Good job by Matt Stafford.
And you know what? You've talked about Travis Kelce being a hybrid. Narrate over Kelce as we head to break before we head back here.
Oh, yeah. Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends in the business. And he's going to be able to do it all today. May even throw a touchdown, too.
Wow, like you.
So the anticipation level rising there in Arrowhead Stadium, folks, as we approach kickoff to this AFC heavyweight brawl, that between the Bills and the Chiefs. And time now to deliver our game day picks presented by Amazon. The question is, will we see a repeat of what happened here a year ago, Phil?
You know, I want to know, JB, are we going to see the game we're expecting to see? It's going to be great, but I'm taking the Buffalo Bills 30-28 over the Kansas City Chiefs.
I go back and forth in this game, maybe who has the ball last. And I don't know, I just see Josh Allen and the look in his eye the last couple of weeks and the focus that they've had. And that picture of Stephon Diggs from a year ago, and I feel like they're going back that same path. I'm going to take Buffalo with a late field goal, 27-24.
Guys, we've been talking about it all show. Patrick Mahomes is really good when he plays in KC in the playoffs. I feel like this is going to be a high-scoring affair. Now the Kansas City Chiefs win 42-28,
Wow.
38.
All right.
You know what, guys? I want to go to Jim Kelly's house for a party because nobody throws a better party than Jim Kelly in Buffalo. We've all been there. So you know what I'm talking about. And a rematch of the 1988 AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Bengals in Buffalo. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. 34-31. This game's going into overtime.
I was never invited to any of those parties, so I wasn't there.
So you're telling us you were just pretty straight then, huh?
No, I wasn't invited. You can't go where you're not invited.
But if I have to think about a player to me that has emerged in this Buffalo Bill offense that I think that has to get involved in early, it's Isaiah McKenzie. He reminds me of a Kansas City receiver. He's speed. They get the ball in his hands on his reverses. He's the one guy who can give you an explosive play anytime he touches the ball. I know Devin Singletary has emerged in the running game, but Isaiah McKenzie to me is the one guy who could be an X factor.
So that's the one good thing about Buffalo's offense. They've widened the scope of who gets the football.
Yeah.
You said it, McKenzie, Gabriel Davis. You know, they're giving it to Devin Singletary, so it's been good.
Yeah, and focus is going to be on the play calling as well.
Yeah.
How creative can you be? We know that KC loves to throw wrinkles in their game plan, so I'm really curious to going to have anything new or something that we haven't seen.
You guys have also talked about the maturation of these two quarterbacks. Talk about what incremental progress you've seen.
Well, listen, Brian Daboll has done a great job with Josh Allen up in Buffalo. To me, Sean McDermott has made this entire season personal. I don't care what anybody says. And I just feel like the Buffalo Bills are on this trajectory to get there, to either get to the Super Bowl. I believe. I really do believe that. And I believe that this young man right here, Josh Allen, has grown into the quarterback, Phil, that you and I both thought he would be when he was drafted perfectly by the Buffalo Bills.
You know, Josh Allen has matured every single year. Patrick Mahomes, when they put him on the field, he was ready. I mean, right from the start, he just started ripping it up. And the way he played at Texas Tech, all those throws was just a great experience for him coming to the NFL.
You know, for Patrick Mahomes, I talked about him being patient, which means to me is don't try to force the big play. Take what the defense gives you. That may be running the football with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's back healthy for the first time, with Jerick McKinnon, and the short passing game. And I go back to the same thing. The tackling of the Buffalo Bills will be imperative because they got speed and explosive players, that being the Kansas City Chiefs, at the skill position.
Yeah, I think there's a certain recklessness that these quarterbacks both played with. Early on in Josh Allen's career, he would try to force the issue. He's learned to live to play another down. And we saw earlier this season, Patrick Mahomes doing a bit too much. I just feel like the lights are bright. These quarterbacks, they might try to put too much on their shoulders. If they can dial it back at the right moments, they'll be okay.
You think Jim Kelly's watching, boys? We're coming, Jimmy. We're coming.
We'll see you back here at halftime. Kickoff is just minutes away.
Bills, Chiefs, the rematch. Coming up next.